Dear students, today we are going to talk about new small and medium-sized enterprises. It's an industry of choice. So there are three main aspects. The first, industry classification standards and classification principles. The second is how to choose the scientific method of industry. The analytical ability of the third industry choice. First, let's look at this data. Small and medium-sized enterprise. Not all businesses can be stained as small and medium-sized enterprises. It has its own classification criteria. First of all, the number of small and medium-sized enterprises. It has different standards. For example, like our wholesale. Industries like ours include leasing. So the number of employees is different. Something needs to be achieved. About 1,000 people. Like industrial fishing and animal husbandry. Then, they can be called small and medium-sized enterprises, but like our construction industry, and this place, like software catering, they could be under 100 or 200. Then we call it a small and medium-sized enterprise. This is divided by the number of people. So in terms of revenue, there are also different standards of reference. You know, like real estate. We all think real estate is a big profit. It is a very profitable business. But the state divides small and medium-sized enterprises. Its earnings, just under 200 million. Then, it can be called small and medium-sized enterprises. On the other hand, rentals are higher. About 1.2 billion. Only then can they be called small and medium-sized enterprises. This specific classification standard, in fact, this is mainly caused by some decisions by industry and government. To determine this point, everyone is to do a simple cognition can be. Second, the principles of industry selection are as follows. First, when we were choosing an industry, you have to look at the industry, whether it conforms to the development trend of social economy. That's what they call taking advantage of the situation. We must not go against the trend. What kind of potential? The trend of national politics and economy is favorable. Conforming is the trend of social development. It is the trend of the development law of the whole industry. Make sure you don't go backwards. We can have reverse thinking. But it must be in business. You have to go with the flow. Therefore, if the industry itself is not within the development trend, then be careful to ingest. Give an example. Like the original photo shoot. We're using film. Then came digital. Digital is an industry trend. And film, it was destined to be obsolete. If we still need to blunt advanced film, then death may be the last thing that greets us. Second, the industry must be attractive. In other words, our current industry. We are all talking about economies of scale. Because of the scale, we have to be big. That's in every company in the industry. The roots are bigger than the ones you get. But the industry has to be attractive. If not attractive, there won't be any businesses. There will be no customers coming in. In that case, no economies of scale. Then, it will be very difficult for our enterprises to talk about profit. The third, just to see if the cost of entry is low. Because small and medium-sized enterprises are, relatively speaking, it wasn't even big at first. Invested capital, committed person, technical experience will be limited. So we better choose. The threshold is not too high in an industry. So if the entry cost is a little bit lower, for the development of small and medium-sized enterprises, there is good help for this. Give an example. Like during the epidemic, many people are afraid to do big business. Also dare not invest huge income in some industries. What then? Some people just pull back. Like opening small pet stores. Open some convenience stores. These enterprises are small, medium and micro enterprises. Fourth, select projects with technological innovation and good market prospects. Which means we have to focus on technology now. Now we are moving into Industry 4.0. Both in terms of education and economic development, we all attach great importance to the development of science and technology. So we must pay attention in all industries. If there is no technology and technological innovation of the industry, please be discreet. The fifth, entrepreneurs in the industry must have a certain resource advantage. We can't get the entrepreneur's resources. Do everything. But if you have no advantage, you don't have one or two advantages, then force your way into an industry like this. It's very possible to lose money. So whatever you are technically on the market, in terms of personnel structure, financially, you have to have a relevant advantage. We can enter the market, have nothing at all. We started from scratch. Starting a business like this is actually very difficult. Second, let's take a look at what kinds of industry choices there are. It's really simple. The first is our qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis includes the first industry characteristic analysis, is to do an analysis of the industry. So what needs to be analyzed in the industry? The first industry trend. Just mention the trend. It refers to a potential. All of our businesses are in this industry. You have to go with the flow. So you have to know where the prospects are. Because of this development trend, it directly determines the development strategy of our enterprise. Second, industry scale and difference in industry characteristics analysis. That is, it must go through such an analysis. Give yourself a precise position. Do a differentiated analysis. The industry has scale. The industry has its size. But where am I? Who I am in the industry? Make sure you figure this out. The third is the chosen industry. The position of the industrial chain is analyzed. This is also a precise positioning. China's industrial chain is huge, like during a pandemic. Why can we do it in such a short time? Making so many masks. The antigenic reagents that produce so many nucleic acids. That's because China's industrial chain is huge. There are raw materials and transportation. Then there are the middlemen and there are the sales. All aspects are very full. And it's done relatively maturely. So in this industrial chain, make sure you know what part of the chain I am. Who am I? It is still necessary to clarify such a very precise positioning. The fourth is to analyze the life cycle of the industry. Industry companies are like people. He always had one from birth to old age, to the process of death. But death is not the complete death of enterprises and products. It's the substitution of new businesses, new industries, new products. Is to complete a transformation, complete an upgrade. In fact, we only complete one life cycle. So what are the benefits of knowing the life cycle? First, let's be clear. We need to know if we are entering at the right time. If we are at the end, in a recession, a period of decline in the industry, we forced our way in. Just like the film market and digital cameras. If you force your way in, you are likely to die. Second, when is it important to quit? That is, if an enterprise cannot go. When will you transition? When to quit? This point, for the development of enterprises, it is very important. Second, the industry should do a profit analysis. In other words, we need to build some relevant profit models. At the same time, we need to know in the industry where we can make a profit. At the same time, in what way to profit. Better optimize one of our own financial structures, one of our product structures. It's all good. The third is the analysis of industry entry. So let's look at it first. The entry cost of the industry. It's the same cost as the one I just mentioned. That means we have to keep thinking about it. Our cost of entry is high or low. The key is this high and low judgment, or to the strength of their own enterprises to judge the standard. For example, they are also used as convenience stores. Some of them want to open boutiques. He could probably put in $200,000. Opened in a good location. Then some. He may be in his own right. All he can offer is $50,000. Or a capital cost of $100,000. So when he was looking for a site, when he was decorating, while he was positioning himself, then you need to position your business smaller. So the cost of this entry, or based on the actual situation of their own business depends. The second is the barriers to entry. So when we got into the business, be sure to see what the obstacles are. What are the barriers? The core must be seen. Whether such barriers can be broken through themselves, be able to cross. If you analyze it, I feel like I can't break this barrier. So whether such an industry belongs to themselves, suit oneself, to think twice. Just like we don't have the support of a huge financial staff right now. forced to do the internet economy. It's life or death in the end. It's hard to talk about because the barrier is very high. If you don't have what it takes, it's best not to touch such barriers. The third is the concentration of the industry and its competitors. We talked about competitor analysis when we were doing our market analysis. It's very important. Look at others to see themselves. By analyzing others, we can analyze ourselves. So no comparison, no harm. But without comparison, there is no progress. So the analysis of competitors and the analysis of industry concentration. This is where it becomes particularly important. The fourth is the government's industrial policy. We talk about our potential, except that there is a corresponding political economy, including other trends in the development of our industry. In fact, there are government policies, relevant policy, under the guidance of policy. So our economy, it could go in one direction or another. Benign development. But if we violate policy, we go against policy. So in the end, a business may not even be operating legally. In that case, it will have a very negative impact on the enterprise. The fourth is the resource analysis of entrepreneurs. That was just mentioned, so let's say what resources we entrepreneurs have. You have to be careful. Scientific and accurate analysis. Finally, to precise positioning. Make an accurate judgment. Good. Classmates. Above. That's all we're going to talk about today. It's about how do we make industry choices. There are some principles and details. We need to get it right. So, to the market, to themselves, to the enterprise, do an adequate scientific and precise analysis. I have a question for you to think about. Why does Tencent do retail platform is always not warm? Think about it. Classmates. That's all for today's lesson. Thank you all.